You like to try and break at this point?
I just wanted to kind of break something small so I can mend it.
On the boat, or like one of the barrels that you're carrying?
Yeah, it can be even something fairly small, but like it can be a lantern. It can be just really anything that I find. It doesn't have to be anything. Actually, I'd prefer if it's something
something on the dock or on the boat.
On the boat.
On the boat. Okay. So as you go up to end up kind of getting the next barrel, you end up noticing that you know, as you're kind of unloading the crate and lifting it out of the thing with a winch, as you kind of pull it up out of the little hole area, you end up kind of taking out, I forgot, what type of weapons do you have?
I've got a...
Do you have a short sword or anything?
I have a rapier. I don't know if that's a short sword. I'm basically just looking for anything tiny that could be fixed or made improvements on. But even if it's...
So you end up pulling out your rapier and hitting with your hilt the winch. And as you end up hitting it, it kind of cracks one of the gears in it and spins down, and the barrel that was being hoisted up crashes down to back down to the hull of the ship. And this, of course, startles the worker that you relieved, and he comes storming up on deck and says, "What did you do?"
I was just trying to find...
And so he sees you kind of standing there with your rapier kind of drawn, and you're just like,
what?
You know, in the like just after hitting this.
I do that. I was just trying to find like a lantern that was like cracked or some shit. All right.
How can I break into the palace, but you can't do anything at the docks?
I literally just wanted to like fix something. Like anything, but apparently this boat's, I found like the most immaculate goddamn boat. Yes, sir. I go, oh Lord, my gosh, with the power of the Great Oaks, did you see what just happened? I can't believe that. It just came crashing down. Oh, ill fate be brought upon you. But do not fret, my friend. I have the solution, and it is in the power of the Great Oak that you will find it, and I'm proclaiming this just extraordinarily loud. And I go down, if I may, please, sir, and I cast
at this point,
men.
you kind of drawn a crowd of the people that are kind of working around here, trying to see what's going on, as they look at a large crash, and we're trying to see what's happening. And go ahead and make a performance roll for me. All right. And so as you end up casting Mend, the winch ends up kind of going back into place, and you are able to kind of lift everything back up. And you see the guy looking on in awe, and then he all of a sudden starts clapping.
I go, please, 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 people. This is not me. I speak the words of our God, the great oak tree. But this is not of my doing. It is His power. It is through His power that this comes through me to help men. The seed understands that you are all worthy, that you have all been through horrible strifes. And I am here for each and every one of you. And I look over to the ship next to me, the one that's battered and bruised, to help in healing those wounds, in hearing those praises.
And so he ends up looking at you, he's like, that's pretty good stuff that you've got there. And he looks down at the hole, at the crashed crate. He says, "Would you be able to end up fixing that crate down there that you broke too?"
Well, if our hearts and our souls are in alignment, anything is possible through the Great Oak. And I attempt to cast Mend again. Oh god, sorry. Fuck, info, cast. Sorry, cast.
All right, and so you end up kind of going back to it, and you have to work on it for a couple minutes as you're kind of putting several pieces back together, but slowly you end up kind of piecing everything back just as it was. And he says, that's pretty impressive stuff you've got there. And a couple other of the folks end up coming up, particularly the captain from the ship next to this. And he says, hey, would you be able to fix a few things on my ship? He's like, I ended up getting hit by a couple pirates coming in here. And I've got quite a few broken boards that I need to get mended. It would cost me a fortune.
I go where I am needed. But please, remember, if you're ever ill of spirit, just remember the Great Oak.
Oh, God.
And I head off.
We're gonna do this. We're gonna turn the world into the Great Oak.
So
I just went onto a ship and broke their shit, and
the one worker ends up kind of slapping you on the back. He says, "All right, well, thanks for your services." He's like, that you pretty much ended up unloading everything, so I can end up heading off early. Thanks for fixing that winch up there. And
Sleep well,
you end up heading off to the next ship. And the captain there ends up kind of pointing out several areas of damage in the hull and large tears in his sail that need to be fixed.
I just asked that he pray with me.
And he says, of course. Is there any type of standard scripture or anything like this to this Grand Oak?
I go, I've read it all in this book, my friend, and it's the Book of the Secret Garden. And I just asked him to just picture a garden full of all the wonderful trees that exist, fruits, abundant nature. This is where our heart's desire, and we must just be true and faithful. So I'll just read a scripture and repeat after me, and we just kind of go through and just repeat some stuff in simplicity, and we start repairing things around the boat here and there. And in the meantime, kind of while we do, I kind of drift off from the prayer, and I start to kind of ask him a little bit more about these pirates that attacked him.
He says,
what he knows about them.
It's some group down out of Beggar's Hole, south of here. Unfortunately, we have to end up going right by them when we're coming in and out for trade.
Do they seem to sport any kind of insignia or memorabilia or things that could be construed as theirs?
He says, well, they seem to be run by this masked character, calls himself Heist. Well, I don't really know too much about him, but apparently he's seen all over the place. One day they see them in town, next day he's down in Beggar's Hole, another day he's on a ship somewhere. Seems to be all over the place. I don't know how you can be in more than one place at once, but maybe he's some type of wizard, I don't know.
I just ask him what like color the mask is, or just a little bit more to describe it, and then, yeah.
So he ends up describing the mask, and go ahead and do an intelligence check for me.
The character's not that smart. Crap.
All right. Now you are still able to remember because it was less than a week ago or so. But it sounds like what he is describing to you is the same type of mask that you saw on the bandit whose little hut that you ended up raiding back there. And so as it kind of flows back to you, because you kind of flip through some of those documents along with Kane that you pilfered there, and everything seems to be lining up, so it most likely is the same band of thieves.
Okay. So after I've kind of finished, I offer a small prayer, and I just ask them to remember the great oak, and I each issue them a piece of bark that I pulled from the oak tree itself that I've blessed. Just keep them safe in their travels in the next pirate encounter, and then I kind of head off to try to find my comrades.
He says, "Will do," and you see him kind of, tying it and strapping it to the helm.
You're gonna get those guys killed.
And that's it. They're safe. They won't get hurt now. It's okay. I gave them a piece of bark.
All right, so Gilltoss, Kane, and Fox, you guys have headed across to the Temple District, and you end up walking up to the Grand Temple of Lathander, which is by far one of the largest and most decorated buildings within this district, other than the castle. And you are able to walk inside and are soon greeted by one of the priests who bows down and he says, "How may I be of service?"
I defer to Gilltoss, who has the sword and thus proof of demise.
Yes, I do believe that we have slain this person. And I hold up the sheet of paper.
And he says, "Really? Well, then you would certainly want to go over to see the High Dawn Guard." He says, and he ushers you over to a side area from kind of the main chapel. And you end up walking back into this large waiting room. And he asks you to end up kind of sitting down here. He says, "Captain Jonas is quite, busy at this time, but he will certainly come out and see you soon, as this is a very high importance, and he would definitely want to end up hearing about this quickly." And
Yes.
he ends up kind of going off and whispering to one of the guards at the door, who ends up rushing inside to go talk to someone. And the priest ends up walking off at this point, and you guys are in this large waiting room. There's several chairs around, and on a table there seems to be small kind of biscuit-looking things on the table.
Oh, don't trust that. All right, well, I go over to the biscuit-looking things, and I totally inspect them. Investigate them.
Okay.
Gotta look at these things. Aha!
All right.
Biscuits.
So you end up picking them up, and they seem like to be very kind of lightweight kind of wafers. Each of them seem to be kind of have what seem like kind of the shape of a sun kind of stamped on it. And they don't really seem to have any nutritional value or anything like that.
Yes.
I eat 3 of them.
To say, I take one and eat it, and I go, "They're just wafers, Gil."
They don't seem to have
Hey, what do you make of this?
Of the
and-
wafers?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's a religious thing. They eat the wafers and they drink the wine, and it's part of their god. Or
I sprinkle a little of broken candy cane all over it and eat it.
It tastes like candy
wow.
canes now. And
Something
so
is
as
wrong. I
as
put it back.
Kane is sprinkling candy cane on it, the doors end up opening, and you see this highly decorated older man end up walking towards you. and he says, "I hear you all have some news about Heist. Is that correct?"
Yes, we murdered him.
Yes, we murdered him.
Yeah,
I don't know how
apparently-
you feel about that, since that's probably against one of your codes of religion. But we murdered him. I ran him
His
through with
eyes.
a boar.
His eyes end up narrowing, and he looks you up and down, and he says, "Do you have his body?"
No.
Unfortunately, when we slew him, we did not know of the wanted poster here, so we do not have his body. However, my friend Gilltoss here does have the sword that he wielded.
He says, "Are you sure it just wasn't one of his copycats?"
Copycats?
Does his copycats have flaming swords?
Do they?
Not sure about any flaming swords. I haven't had any information on that. But they seem to be running around in more and more numbers, throwing on this mask and claiming to be the Heist. When really they're just his subordinates leading small little forays. How long ago was this that you killed him?
Was it 3 days?
A dead
week?
day ago? How long did it take to get here? Time passes funny in this world.
When you're in a barrel, I'm just stop.
It was about 4 days ago.
4 days ago, we...
4 days ago.
4 days ago, I ran him through with one of my tusks as a boar.
So we're like 3, 1 day, a week, and then simultaneously 4 days.
It was 4 days. You end up seeing him sigh, and he goes, "Just another one." He's like, "All right."
All right, well, how do you
Well-
know? What if we did kill the real
real
one,
one.
and the subordinate's still causing all the trouble? Hmm?
All right, go ahead and do a persuasion for me.
Persuasion.
Mm-hmm.
Persuasion. Wah! Ah! Clearly, I have advantage on this.
We clearly
Well-
have advantage on this.
Because
We're
logic.
determined.
Because when he walked in, I went behind him, so we're flanking him now.
Yes. And I have an aura called Persuasion. That's it. Yeah.
The candy
So-
cane peppermint is filling the air.
Yeah, the candy cane is increasing his willingness to hear out, because it reminds him of his younger time when everything was happy and cheery and Santa Claus.
And he
would
was
give him
gullible.
He
Shit
still
leaked
kind of
out.
dismisses Gilltoss's comment, and he says, "Well, unfortunately, you don't have any solid evidence that this was the actual leader, and even if they are just his subordinates left, they are still end up causing us huge amount of trouble, even within this last 4 days."
Okay, so hold on. What's the characteristics of the main heist that you can tell us? Because as far as we're concerned, this guy was pretty tough, bro.
He had a flaming sword. He had a giant
flaming
locked in a
sword.
cord cage, and a bunch of, what were they, like werewolves? I don't know. I don't know what you call them in this world.
Knowles.
Gnolls, yes, gnolls,
That was-
and assholes
a
with
good
crossbows and shit like. Oh, hold on! I have this piece of paper, and I reproduced the piece of paper of the orders. This was found on his body.
So the captain ends up taking them and sifting through them, and he's like, I see. Well, this definitely confirms it then. It was one of his subordinates.
Damn it!
What if he was holding that to give to someone, to one of his
Alright,
subordinates?
Gil, put it to rest. If it was one of his subordinates, that means that we still have a chance to capture him alive and get the 100,000.
He best be alive, because he knows where Heat Miser is.
Captain of the Dawn Guard, what other information do you have? Because we would like to take on this quest and track down Heist for you.
And slaughter him.
He ends up
Back alive.
And then
having
we
you
slaughter
guys
him.
End up sitting down at the table, and he says, "Well, since you guys have apparently just the three of you taking out
Yes, just the three of us.
When get
Totally,
busted?
totally just the three.
When do I break
We may
into the door?
have had a pet assist in battle,
A monkey.
but that's about it.
He's in this stable now, don't worry about it.
I kick open the door and say, "I
and a
object."
half man." He's like, You do seem like you are somewhat capable, and obviously we do need to end up reimbursing you for your deeds in aiding us in this matter. And he ends up kind of giving you some more information about what they end up knowing. And basically, Heist has been operating all throughout Kingsbridge and Beggar's Hole and trying to cut off all trade at this point. And he seems to be relocating all of the funds to the slums down in Beggar's Hole.